So today I would like to discuss this Parshas Mishpotim. I'm not going to, of course, this is a tremendous big Parsha, but one of the things that I was thinking before is that we have the Aseret HaDibros. Aseret HaDibros are very important mitzvahs. The question is, are the mitzvahs in Aseret HaDibros more important than the other mitzvahs? Theoretically, yes, obviously, because the Aseret HaDibros were told by Hashem directly. So the more that you have, the things that are written in the Torah are more important than things that are Luchol Moshe Sinai, for example, although they're also given. So things that were written is more important than things that were only transmitted. But things that were directly from Hashem are even more important than the mitzvahs which are transmitted through Moshe Abde, Moshe Novi. So the question is, what is the more importance in the Aseret HaDibros than we don't have? So Rashi already explains, but Rashi is very difficult. Rashi explains that Aseret HaDibros on the mitzvahs says that you don't perform on the Torah, then you didn't perform a mitzvah. You don't have always a oynish for not performing a mitzvah. Like somebody doesn't put on Arba Kampos, he doesn't have to put on tzitzit. But on the Aseret HaDibros, the mitzvahs says that if you don't perform them, then you also you receive a punishment. The difficulty is that we hardly see any mitzvahs says in the Aseret HaDibros. There's only two. There is Kiddush and Kibbutz Avim, but the only two. So what is the whole idea that Rashi is bringing down? But I think that the idea is we do make always, we say that, especially maybe some probably not more than others, but in general, we always assume that everything is mutter, everything is allowed to, unless it is written that you're not allowed to. And today we live in a world where our communities, our rabbonim, they are taking the other stand, which is everything is also unless it is has a hersher, especially if it has a hersher from their own, then it's even better. But the idea that we are very, very taking which we call Haredism, which is why we call Haredim. A Haredi is somebody who is afraid, and he's so afraid that he does not take a chance. So if it's not clear that it's mutter, then better not do it. And therefore, this is the idea of Haredism in general. But the Torah, it's not like. So in the Torah, we could say that all the mitzvahs are normally mutter, everything is mutter, unless it's stated that it's not mutter. But in Aseret HaDibros, there we can say that no. But Aseret HaDibros, when it says lo esichtzach, it means that you better don't touch. When anything has to do with the danger of maybe killing a person, then everything is also, unless you're allowed to, like we have to roll mikirbecho, or the idea of the goel adam. So there are some cases where the Torah is not to you, but in general, in all the Aseret HaDibros, there are respect of somebody else's property, of his wife, of Geneva and Edu Sheker, everything else. If it even touches a little bit, if you have even a little doubt, then you don't do it unless you really have an heter which is written in the Torah or in Shulchan. But Aseret HaDibros is really something which has to be the opposite of what normally we should know. That, in other words, when it comes to respecting other man's life, or if it comes to respecting the covenant of Hashem, in that case, if you have a doubt, don't do it. So unless you know for sure that you're allowed to do it, but if you have a doubt, don't do it. This is the Aseret HaDibros is a fundamental constitution. So you have the constitution, which is the Taryag Mitzvahs. The fundamentals of that constitution is Aseret HaDibros, which are telling us that these are the things that there is no go, there is no way that you have to really be careful completely in all those mitzvahs. So this is really, everything is also unless it's written that it's mutter, like Loisinav, then it's Ashes Yefastoya. So the Torah sometimes gives you a heterim, but otherwise you are completely, you're completely in the issue. So it's an issue by default on these subjects which are in the Aseret HaDibros. When it comes to Elach Mishpotim, it's very interesting that there is a lot of mitzvahs are mentioned in Mishpotim, but that are very much related to what we can call logical mitzvahs. It's logical mitzvahs, meaning that there are mitzvahs that we understand, they're ethical. And Rav Zohori, who gives here the Hayomishi as well, he spoke by us, and he explained something which I could classify as pure Haredism, but not in a negative term, but just to make sure I am a Haredi, but I like the Hebraism as Shivim Ponim LaTorah. I find it that if we can know both sides, it makes our lives a little bit more pleasant. That's a personal opinion. But so Rav Zohori, he explained that the idea of those Mishpotim, Eila Mishpotim, is that we should not perform the mitzvahs because they are beautiful, because they are logical, but simply because Hashem told us to do it. So it adds the religiosity to the mitzvahs. In other words, basically what he was kind of saying is I perform a mitzvah, I don't steal, or when I steal, I pay. It's not because I believe that I have to do it, but simply because Hashem told me to do it. And basically what it comes down to is I am an eved to Hashem, and therefore whatever Hashem tells me, that's what I'm doing. So I'm not thinking on the idea of the why I'm doing it, but purely because I'm told to do it. So this is a little bit, if I didn't hear the whole drosha, I was busy with my Daf Hayomi at the time, but this is basically what he was actually saying.
Primary.
Yeah.
Primary
is
action
to do it. And then yeah. So that's, so I already mentioned that a few times. So this is the Nasa V'Nishma. So this is the idea of the first you do, and then you try to understand. But then I told you already a few times that this is a big machlokes between the Tur and the Rambam. So the Tur indeed says that when he criticizes the Rambam gives a reason why we're not allowed to cut your hairs, you're not allowed to cut the hairs from your hairs. And so he gives a time. And the Tur criticizes the Rambam, why do you give a time? Why do you need to know? And then he says, Afim loy that tamon, we still have to perform them. So basically, we don't have to know the tamon. This is the shittis atur, because it's a mitzvah Hashem, he says, when it's a mitzvah Hashem, we just perform the mitzvahs as it is a mitzvah Hashem. And so the Beis Yosef there brings down that the Tur understood in the Rambam, that since he always brings the tam, she'ilu loy hoyoidim tam mitzvahs loy hoyinu mitzuvim lasoiso. That's a very interesting idea. What? Oh. So the idea of the chok and the mitzvah, the separation of the concept, this is drosh. Theoretically, there's no difference between a chok and a mishpat. Even a lot of chokim in the Torah and the Chazal Teller, the Shlomo Melech knew all of them, only not Torah Dumo. So you see that even a chok can be understood. And today I can also explain you Torah Dumo. I can explain you this when you touch when you are in contact with the mess, you have been in contact with the Samach Mem, with the other side. And therefore, you need a tahara, and the tahara is the water that we take a poro adumo. Adumo is edoim, which is also the samach mem, and you shecht it outside the Beis Hamikdash. So in other words, you shecht it to the samach mem, like the sir lazosel. Poro adumo is also a shchita with samach mem, and that shchita is mechaper for the fact that you've been in touch with mace. You have to be chaim, and therefore you receive the remnant of that korban. You have to receive together with water in order to cleanse yourself, but you still need to go to the mikveh because you touch the korban which goes to the samach mem, so you need to, and kol yom, you do it in the evening. So you can explain it as well, very nicely explain it, Kabbalistically we can understand. So the fact that the chok is not to be understood is not an aluch l'moish misinai. You understand? There is such a concept in Chazal, but it's not aluch l'moish misinai. It's not like, you cannot understand the chok. So I don't know. There is such a concept that the chok is not understood and the mishpat is understood, but it's not muskam unanimously in the Torah. We see a lot of times that they come and they give a mitzvah. So the Rambam holds that it is very important to know the Tama mitzvahs, and he says a few times that it is a person should try to understand the Tama mitzvahs because the mitzvahs gives you purifies you, makes you understand, gives you more understanding of Hashem. By knowing why you're doing the mitzvahs, if you understand the mitzvahs, that brings you to a better understanding of Das Hashem. So the mitzvahs are not a purpose on itself. The mitzvahs are a tool to achieve a Das Hashem. Also, we said a few weeks ago in the Meshech Chochmah, where he explains Rotzu HaKodesh Baruch Hu lezakos es Yisrael lefikach hirbo Torah mitzvahs. So this is really the Mama Chazal that confirms Haredism, that the Rebbeinu gave us a lot of mitzvahs so that we can perform more mitzvahs. If we perform mitzvahs, we receive more pluses on our little book. And after a few pluses, we receive more, and then we'll receive more. And this is the idea of the Zakos is Yisrael. But Meshech Chochmah says, no, the Zakos doesn't mean. The Zakos means the Zach is to clean. The Zakos wants to clean you as Yisrael. What are mitzvahs that you should be clean from all emotions, from all religiosity, and that you should, I know it's not emotions, does not have to be religiosity, but as you remember, Meshech Chochmah says it's the idea is that you should be clean. You should let all your emotions in those mitzvahs. The mitzvahs should take away the emotions because the emotions are corrupting your mind. And therefore, you should be free of your mind to really believe in Hashem purely intellectual and being connected with Hashem intellectually and not emotional. So this is the anti-Hasidic view probably of the Meshech Chochmah.
Tellement grand.
Parce qu'on a l'Olam Haba qu'on peut avoir est très très grand et donc comme ça on a une possibilité d'avoir du shrous. Capable.
Il faut utiliser à bon escient ce potentiel.
Avec 2-3 mitzvahs, on a tellement plus en nous que la Torah nous a donné beaucoup de mitzvahs pour qu'on puisse extérioriser tout ce qu'on a. Mais c'est un peu la même chose que Meshech Chochmah, un petit peu, mais dans un autre contexte. Mais je suis d'accord. Ouais. Où c'est le Maral? C'est où? Je vais... Okay. So you see here that this is the Haredism sees the mitzvahs as purely, we perform the mitzvahs as Hashem told us, but then this is the Nasa V'Nishma. On the other hand, and you have also the Imloi Achshav Emosai is, as I explained you many years ago, the Imloi Achshav Emosai is that if I will only perform mitzvahs that I will understand Emosai, so also the Ibn Ezra also says it in one of his forum, that one should perform mitzvahs even if he doesn't understand them, is also the same concept in Achshav Emosai. When Hillel says in Achshav Emosai, it means really that you should always perform the mitzvahs anyway, even if you don't understand. But he's right, Tucker, if you don't understand, there's no point. So theoretically, there is no point if you don't understand to perform a mitzvah, but we do it because we do it also because Nasa V'Nishma, that the Klal Yisrael also said, we will perform it even if we don't understand, but at some point we need to understand. So there must be an understanding, otherwise it's stuck a bit senseless. So when the Yosef understood that in the Tur, understanding the Rambam, there is a little truth in it that at the end you need to understand. No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So according to the Rambam, if you're doing it without understanding, there's no point because the whole mitzvah has to have an impact on you. So, sorry? That's why the Rambam says that you should try to understand. It's very important to understand. Because they don't hold like the Rambam. They go like the Tur. The Chinuch also, the Shorsha mitzvah, it gives you always an understanding. What, sorry? It gives a Moira Nebuchim. Yeah, he gives all the mitzvahs, he explains the reason why. Yeah, what, sorry? Yeah. Moira Nebuchim, he gives an explanation. Not in the other Chazuk. You can ask him why not the other Chazuk. But the other Chazuk, I think at the end of Me'ilah, in Hilchos Me'ilah, I think there where he writes that it's very important to actually learn all the time in the mitzvahs. What? Moira Nebuchim? No. Yeah, but he gives different reasons. The Chinuch does not give the same reasons at all, or not at all. I don't know if the Chinuch even knew about the Rambam in the book. I don't know. Yeah, but there he explains. But anyway, you will see that you won't be very excited. Okay, I will tell you, you're not allowed to do this because also the Koimrim, the priests are doing it. They were doing it, you understand? And later on in Christianity, they did it. Not allowed to Bosso Bocholov because they used to take Bosso Bocholov and put on the fields for it to grow. You understand? So these are things that today we don't do. So what's the point? So that's the question is, does the reason have to be eternal reason or only temporary is enough. And once the mitzvah is there, it remains eternal. So you have to understand, always bringing you to against our desire and to purify your mind. It's difficult. It's very difficult to make the link. Moïse, tu n'étais pas content. Non. Oh. Ça fait du bien. Ça fait du bien. Ça fait du bien. Ouais. Ce bien, on l'a oublié. Ouais. Et ça fait du bien, un mauvais bien. Nous, un mauvais bien. Ça nous amène bien à ça, on a oublié. C'est-à-dire que ça commence avec un tard. On ne le fait pas parce qu'on le fait. On le fait pas parce qu'on oublie le bien qui nous amène. En fait, le Chazal, analyser ce bien, on va tomber dedans. Ouais. C'est pour ça que Chazal, c'est peut-être pour ça qu'on a oublié. C'est pour ça qu'aujourd'hui, that's why maybe we don't know anymore the time of mitzvahs, because if you would have known the time of mitzvahs, then yeah, we would say, oh, if that's true, maybe I'll do it. Quietly I'll do it. Well, the temptation will be big because we'll see the powers of it.
There is a translation, kind of the complex. So,
yeah. No, this is meat and fish. Meat and fish is health-wise. Because they did it for Avodah and then they threw it on the field for it to grow better. It was like something, I don't know.
Kind of the complex. English translation.
Yeah. So it's an interesting concept, and therefore for me it was like when I hear this and it was continuously, no, we have to do the mitzvahs only because Hashem told us, and this is tachlis. No, the tachlis is when the Rambam and a lot of Rishonim, the tachlis is das Hashem. That's why I always say it's very important to learn at least something in your life about the Boin Shloim, about maybe, I don't know if you have to learn Kabbalah, but at least to know a little bit more about the Hashem, his names and things like that, because that's the Matorah. We tend to make a lot of mitzvahs and we're living like we are trying to make good points, but the tachlis is not the mitzvahs. The mitzvahs is a mean to get to a certain point, but we forget this certain point. I don't know, it looks strange for me, because you can waste your life in this type of thing. So we saw that there is an element of tikkun olam. We already saw a few times that the mitzvah wants us to is to make a tikkun olam. We saw that the tikkun olam has to be with a certain morality, and therefore Torah, the Bonsham shows us as a goy kodesh in order to be the center of morality in the whole world. And so Bonsham said it's not just how to serve Hashem, just what is the Beis Hamikdash, the kedusha. There's no kedusha at all in the Aseret HaDivrot, by the way. There's nothing about kedusha, nothing about anything of these things is in the Aseret HaDivrot. It's purely the morality, how to behave with other people and how to behave with Hashem, but not anything which has to do with the Beis Hamikdash. But the idea of Eila Mishpotim is to show us that there is no choil and there is no kodesh, that there is, even the choil has to be kodesh and even the kodesh has to be choil, that a Josephist, he also needs to know and he has to think and he has to restrain himself, and he has to be mechavan when he does something. That's why the Aluchas tell him in how to deal with a normal life, and the Yudoi that is always thinking and dancing and singing and meditating, he also has to go and do something. So there is also an obligation to do, which is the whole Tayak mitzvahs, you oblige you to perform mitzvahs as well. So both have this obligation and they are binding together to the Shulchan Aruch. So the Shulchan Aruch, the Alucha, is what binds together. The Yudoi has to go and daven, the Yudoi has to go and take a lulav, has to go and marry and work simply because he has to have a wife so that he can have children, because he's obligated. Although it is for him, it is only a secondary, and similarly the Josephist is the other way around. He wants to get married, he wants to build And then the Torah tells him you can only marry with this, and this is how to get married, and this is how when you're working, you're not allowed to take ribbis, you're not allowed to steal, you're not allowed to cheat. So these are the whole concept. The two have the same things, but the viewpoint is different. They have a completely different viewpoint, which have to be combined together between the Joseph and the Yehud. This combination is therefore called an ivri. This is Manitou calls it an ivri. And the problem that is today, that I have today with that is because the concept that we see the ivri in the Torah is always connected to an evet. So you will not find only Sefer Bereshis, you will find ivri, and then you will find the word ivri in the Torah always connected to once we receive the Torah, we change from ivri to Israel, and the word ivri remains always. You will find it and it's connected to the evet. So when we speak about ivri or ivrio, it will be always connected to an evet, to a slave. So the question is, why suddenly by evet we are called ivrim, but normally we always call Yisrael, Ochiv. Could have said evet, Ochicho, or evet. Why does he always call an evet? He calls him an ivri.
When the Oisen,
yeah.
Still a ivri.
Because he was still in ivri when. Maybe. Yeah. But that's already only when Itaka goes into. What? Sorry. Yeah. But it's similar, something similar. What I think that you wanted to say, or I spoke also with somebody else. But ivri. So the ivri was what is Israel? I think the shoresh from Israel is shor, no? Is authority. What is the shoresh of Israel? I think it's the shor. Shor means majestic, I think. And so you cannot put Evet and Israel in the same thing. And so therefore, the only way that you can describe a Jew, then you go back to how he was before. So a bit what you said, how he was before the Torah was given to him, before Yaakov received this title. And so we go back, we call him an Evet Ivri. So he's an Ivri, he's a Yehudi, but his Be'etzem is an Evet, which is an Ivri. So Ivri is Be'etzem, a title before. So it's a Gnai. As I think Nar Ivri is also, Rashi says it's a Gnai, Rosh Gnai. But it means, in other words, that the Ivri is not a compliment. The Ivri is somebody that is before Yisrael. So I'm sure that Manitou would be a little bit irritated by me saying that, because he claims that we have to go to this Ivriyut, we have to go back to Ivriyut. But I think that it's just simply because we have a problem. Normally we should say we should go back from Yehudi to become Yisrael. The problem is that historically the Malchus Yosef received the title Melech Yisrael. So Yisrael was given to Yosef somehow for a reason which I can understand, but as we explained, because the Iker is Yosef, the Iker is work. But the Recheretz is Iker and the Torah is only Tofel. Remember Rabbeinu Tam, I always mention it, Rabbeinu Tam, that people, Haredism, believe that the Torah is Iker and work is only Tofel. And Rabbeinu Tam holds that no, the Iker is the Recheretz, work. The Recheretz is not as middle, it means mamish working is Iker, and the Torah is a Tofel towards that. And so maybe that's why Yosef received the Yisrael, and the Yehuda received only his Shevet, Yehuda. And so therefore we have a problem. We have Yosef, which is Yisrael, and Yehuda. So how do you call the pluralistic people that combines both? So it was creative Manitou, and he calls it Ivri. But theoretically, it's not Ivri, should be Yisrael. But simply it's already used Yisrael for Yosef. So he looked for a word which can be combining both. So he calls him an Ivri. The Yoina also says Ivri or Noichi. So maybe that's the way I can see it. But the Etzem Ivri is not a compliment. Ivri is still, like you said, the status before we became Yisrael. But I would like to just still give you another explanation of the Evet Ivri. Why is it an Evet Ivri? The Ibn Ezra, normally Ivri means a Jew. that's how we always learn Ivri to be a Jew. But there is another way that you can learn Ivri. So we all know that, and this is also which Manitou and Sheki, I heard it from Sheki, he says that the original land that we are living was the original Hebrew. So there is a people that is called the Hebrews, the Ivri, from the children of Eva, and their land was in Eretz Canaan. And somehow they were wanderers, philosophers, and they were not liked by the people, and they got checked out by the Canaanim. The Canaanim, they looked for land, and they decided to go to the Eretz Ivrim, and they took away from the Eretz Ivrim, and became Eretz Canaan. Va'Kanaani oz bo'oretz, as in the Pasuk. What does it mean Va'Kanaani oz bo'oretz? Meaning that originally the Ivrim were there. That's why Terach wanted to go to Eretz Canaan, because he said at the end, look, we are persecuted, let's go back to Eretz Yisrael. So Terach went back to Eretz Yisrael, but then his son told him, no, don't go back, Zionism is not good, don't go back. He stayed in there, he got Kasdim, they were burned, tragic happens, and Abraham got out of it, and then Hashem says, now you go back to Eretz Yisrael. So this is a similar story, as we know that is happening also in our, maybe is happening also in our time. So, but Eretz Canaan was originally Eretz Ivrim. That's why when Yosef says, Onochim Eretz Ivrim, Aaron says, I know where this is. If Ivrim were only the little, I don't know, 30 people living there, I mean, why would Paro know? Apparently, Eretz Ivrim meant Eretz Canaan, and there were still Ivrim living there. There were still Ivrim living there, together with the Canaan and etc. And so the Ivrim are a people, are a nation. So the Ibn Ezra brings down from Acherim, Oimrim, or Cholkim Oimrim, those who are Cholkim, probably a bit the Karoim, maybe more the Karoim that were holding it like that. But like you said, in every shtus, there is a little emes. So in every Avodah Zorah, there is a little bit of an emes. We have to take that as well. Is also what book says. That's why even in every sheker there is a bit of emes, and therefore everybody is emes at the end of the day. Because we believe in monotheism. If somebody says something from all his heart, it means that there is always a little truth in what he says. And so I will mention it because it's quite interesting. So he claims this other Dachirim in Ibn Ezra, the Sikne Evet Ivri means the Hebrews that live in Eretz Yisrael, but they are not Jews. So they are the Hebrews. So it's a nation that lives in Eretz Yisrael that are Hebrews, since they are your brothers, they are cousins of yours. So Hashem says you should only work with them 6 years. So no. No, that's something else. That's something else. When we speak about an Ivri, he speaks about a nation that was called Hebrews.
And how are they your brothers?
Who are the so before
The
they went down to Mitzrayim?
Yeah, there were still Hebrews in Eretz Yisrael. Sorry, no, they were not. They were cousins, children of Ishmaelim, maybe, or cousins of Avram, distant cousins of Avram, and they didn't go down. They were Hebrews living in Eretz Ivrim.
They came back after the time, they
They
were still there.
were still there. They're still there. So there was a nation Hebrews. No, because Canaan is from Chon, and not from Ava. Okay, everybody is brothers. They're all brothers, all humanity.
No, I mean,
I understand.
The whole understanding.
Yeah.
Because Eved Knan is on Knan.
No, but that's Chazal. The word Knan is never in the Torah. That's as Chazal gave them. Interesting, because Knan, you're not even allowed to lesraik on the Shomu. That's an interesting why Chazal chose Knan is. This is a separate shir.
There's Eved Ivri and the Eved non-Ivri. Non-Ivri is the non-Jew.
But that's what I'm saying. We know that because we know from Chazal. Chazal are telling us exactly how to read the Pasuk. But I'm talking now about
the Ivri, the original Ivri was not good from its time. When the Torah say he leave Israel,
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, no.
The Ivri are not part of the
You're right.
position.
No, you're right. You're right.
So it's completely out of context.
No, but there, when the Torah says there,
Yeah.
so there is a posuk which says for a Jew, which is an Eved.
Yeah.
So he says clearly that it says clearly L'savod boy tzavich ochicho imo v'nimkar loch. This is ochicho. That means a Jew.
Mhm.
Doesn't speak Ivri. And then he says, "V'nimkar loch lo savod ba'avoid asovet kesochik ketoy shivye imo at shnas hayovel yavoid imo." Doesn't mention 6 years. Doesn't mention 6 years. Oh, 6 years. Unless he goes and he goes. So the idea behind those people is that how can the Torah say the Jew has to go and make himself a Matzah, Bizoyan? They cannot accept that the Jew is there. So it is an Ivri. An Ivri, yes. But the Jew to go and make themselves a hole in the ears, by the Torah, Ka'aka, there's a Torah defense so much besides Bris Milah, which is, but it's also, it's a Hashlim Esaguf, Letikun Esaguf. But to make a hole, they cannot believe it. And so they say that the Ivri was a nation that lived in Eretz Yisrael, like we already discussed in Mamzer. Mamzer also was a nation that lived in Eretz Yisrael. And then the idea that an Ivri is, when it says B'yovel, because it never says both. It always says Sheshonim, or Matzeh Oilom, or it says Yovel. Never says Sheshonim. And so what is the pshat here? Always when it says 6 years, it always gives you Ivri. There are 3 parshas. Okay? Again, he says Ivri, therefore he says Sheshoni Vashon Ashvitz, yeah? Okay, he says that you should give him also because you should remember that you yourself was an Eved. I want you to behave with your Eved the same way as I took you out.
And why it's so big, no?
Because it's like Edom. Edom is also Ochicho. By Edom, of course, he says that you're not allowed to loisesayev Edom, Yochicho. Loisesayev Adoini, Yochicho. Even Esau is considered Ochicho.
Yeah, but sorry,
because they were, so he said, yeah, but Esau, he was a twins. They were twins in the same mother.
The previous tenant of the Balkan we took over.
No, but they are also children of Ever. They were children of Ever. They are children of Ever. Ivri is a compliment. It's like the Ivrim is a nation that is the closest to Odom Rishon, Atem Koim Odom, that goes on the Ivrim in general.
But even as a done all
No.
the Medrash, how is it done?
What, sorry?
Even as a done all from Medrash.
No, nothing to do. No, in the contrary, because everybody who are Jew that is sold goes straight to Yovel. And not only Ivri, that it's not even as he agrees with the Chazal. The first time, not normal first time, one of the only times where he agrees with Chazal against those Acherim. Okay?
What we learn in school that in the 6th year the Matzah, it's wrong.
No, that's why I want to say it's not wrong. And I will end up. I will give you the raya against these other thinkers, these others, the Acherim or the Cholkim, is from Yirmiyahu. I didn't know. I learned it because the Ibn Ezra brings me there. So apparently, at the end of before the Churban, Klal Yisrael, Yirmiyahu comes to Vayidaber Yirmiyahu anu ve'el Tzidkiyahu melech Yehudo es kol hadvorim ha'ele b'Yerushalayim. They are fighting with you, and I want you to do one thing. Like we have a way to save ourselves. What is to save ourselves? So he told them that one second. He told them that you should free all the avodim. They should send away all the avodim. Leshalach ish es avdoi v'ish es shiposoi ivri vo ivrio hofshim levilti avodbom bihudi ochio ish. So there's one thing that could save us was that if we would have sent away our shifchos and our avodim or ivrim, we would be saved. וישמו כל הסורים בכל לאומה שבו בבריס, so they made the bris, לשלח איש אס עבדוי ואיש אס ישחוסו חופשים, לבלתי עבוד בום, אוית, וישמו וישלחהו, and they sent them away, so they were very good, but we could have saved the Churban by his Rishon. But then he says, וישובו אחריכם, ויושיבו את העבודים ואת השפוחס אשר שילחו חופשים, ויכבשום לעבודים ולשפוחס. But they couldn't resist. There were so much Jews, like in America, in the South, they're very difficult to send them away. They could not resist. וידבר השם אל ירמיהו מעש השם לאמור, כה אמר השם אלוקי ישראל, נוח בראת בריס אבותיכם מקשב השונים, ששלחו איש אסוכי בו עברי again, ואשר ימוכר לכו ואבותכם שישונים, שלחתו חופשים ימור, ולא ישום אבותיכם אליי, ולא יתו אזנם, ותשובו אתם היום ותעשו היושר בעיניי, לקרוא דרוך איש לרעהו, ותכנסו בריס לפוני, בבית אשר יקרא שמיו לו, ותשובו ותכלו את שמי, ותשיבו איש אס עבדוי ואיש אס יפוצו, אשר שלחתם חופשים ונפשם, ותשבשו אויסום ליאוס לכם לעבוד משפחות, לכן כה אמר השם, אתם לא שמעתם לקרוא דרוליס, איש לאוכיב ואיש לרעהו, הנה אני קורא לכם דרור נאום השם, אל החרב ואל הדבר ואל הרוב, ונצאתי אסתם לזבו ולכל מה מחויס האורץ. נצאתי אסתם לשם רוב ומצפליסיה שווקים, and then the whole thing. So בעצם it's very interesting because as a passage, I always wondered why is this mitzvah of Evet in the beginning so important. The first mitzvah of Mishpotim is Evet. It seems that this is really the reason of the Churban is really started off with that Avera. The Jews had very difficult to send away after 6 years the Avodim, and Hashem was so upset with them. And this is it. They could have saved it because of that mitzvah, which is the first of the mitzvahs Elam Mishpotim. Klal Yisrael had an opportunity to save. Apparently, I don't know. I didn't learn Yirmiyahu the whole one. You learn somebody here. This seems to be the reason of the Churban. Yeah. But it seems that at the end in the Posuk it says here about this is what Hashem was so upset. They said the Ukrainians exactly. Then they could have done it. Yeah, exactly. But there he says. So what does he bring down the Ibn Ezra? The Ibn Ezra brings a proof against the Acherim. So he says, "Leshalach ishes abdu visha shikosu ivri bo ivrio ofshim levilti avod bom biyehudi ochiu ish." That the ish should not work on the Yehudi ochiu, a Yehudi which is your brother. So the first time maybe that we find here the word Yehudi is not in Megillas Esther, but it might even be already in Yirmiyahu, which was, we made calculation by 30 years before. So so we started already to see the Yehudi. So he wants to say, you see, Yehudi Achio is the Ivri. So the Ivri is not a nation, but it is the Yehudi. That was the raya from the Ibn Ezra against the Acherim. Although I don't say it's the raya because it could mean who is he speaking to? He's speaking to Tzidkiyahu Melech Yehudo. He's speaking to the people of Yehudo. And so he says to them that the Yehudi Ochio is somebody who is your brother that lives in Yehudo should not work on them. So it's basically the Yehudi comes on the Shevet Yehudo. There is one of the Yehudim as not as a Jew as we have in Jewish Neshama, but it means a citizen of Yehudo because he speaks to Melech Yehudo, so it's not mamish a strong raya neither. But this is what the Ibn Ezra wants to say. Plus, he also says, how come that a Hebrew should have 6 years and a Jew 50 years? Why would it doesn't make sense? So that's why he refutes that.
No.
Yeah.
Jewish, it's more for
the Balbos.
the Balbos.
Yeah. So make it more difficult. Yeah, because he has to pay him. He has to pay his zonis for his wife and his children. Maybe. So it makes to make the barrier make it harder.
Probably they send them away
quicker. Anyway, because they don't want to.
Yeah.
That's possible. But anyway, what we can explain to combine both is that maybe they are right. That an Ivri means a people of Hebrews, and the Jews are Jews. Now, Jew when he sold is for Yovel, and an Ivri is only 6 years. But Chazal are telling us, 1 second, are we not Ivrim? We're also Ivrim. And so what they did is they combined both. So they said the Jew that is sold, as a Hebrew, he has to go out after 6 years. He wants to live, he wants to be there longer, so they're going to do the Matzea as an Hebrew. But since he's a Jew, he has to go out in Yovel. So the Le'olam is Betzem Le'olam. It's not Til Yovel, because that was for Hebrew. Hebrew is Taka Le'olam. But since a Jew has a din that it's only Til Yovel, so we combine both as a Hebrew. As a Hebrew is 6 years, and a Jew is Yovel. Le'olam is after Matzea, so a Hebrew, a Goy Hebrew, he is Le'olam. But we have a Jew, we are both. We have the two attributes. We are Hebrews and we are Jews. So therefore, for us, we live also, we can only work 6 years. Then we are Matzea because we can do it longer as we are Hebrews. But to do till the end, Le'olam, as it says here, this doesn't work for us because we have a special posuk that says only till Yovel, and Yovel we have to go back. And therefore, it doesn't mention there 6 years. It only mentions in Bahar, it only mentions Yovel. So it's kind of a combination that Chazal made from the two status. So you have like a Hebrew and you have a Jew. And so you can make them work together. The idea that Chazal are sometimes taking things out of the context and changing it and making us also Hebrews, I already mentioned it in the element of the Mamze, the Yoba Mamze Be'kal Hashem, and I will jump a little bit ahead, and I will give you another question that I had at the end of the Parsha. So he says in the Parsha, "V'avadetem es Hashem Elokeichem," that at the end of the Parsha it says that you will serve Hashem, "Uveirach es lachmocho ve'es mimecho," and I will bless your bread and your waters, "V'asiroisi machlo mikirbecho," and I will take away all the diseases from you. Lo esiyah meshakelo v'akoro. There will be no meshakelo is somebody who kush, miscarriage, v'akoro, and somebody who can't have children, v'artzecho. So there are 4 things that Hashem promises us when we'll serve Him. The Sefer Ikrim says that from here is the element of davening. Why davening is so important? Because the Avadetem, the Rambam also says, Avadetem Hashem Elokeichem means that when you daven to Hashem. So everything you do for Avodah Zorah, you won't do Avodah Zorah. What do? You bring a korban because you're praying to the Avodah Zorah. No, if you do that to me, don't do it like for them, but if you do it to me, I will be. They can't do anything anyway. I can do what they can't do, and I will do it. So it's the schar that we have for davening is extremely big. There has never been so many schar. One thing, but here there are 4 things that Hashem promises. So there are 4 things. Now I have you were a gabber, right? You gabber. So where's the shvi? The shvi that when you line, where did he stop the balkoire? He stopped and then he stopped. And then the shvi. Yeah, it stops in the middle. And it's even a summer. Summer means it's a new parsha. It means it's a new chapter. How can it be a new chapter in the middle? He's just giving you a list. It tells you. In the middle, he stops. There's a samach. Samach, I'll show you. You want to see, you can check yourself. There's a samach. What?
But it happens just so in the book and the cooler.
This I don't know.
The end of the book is together with the
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Because maybe there because they wanted to. Yeah. Because they want to end normally with the brocha.
You have again a few remaining of the book.
Yeah. But is it because there is a samach there, or is it the balkoire? I have to check. This should check. But here anyway, this is apparently the soifim. They did not understand how we understand it. Because if it's a brochus, then how can they even come to this mind to put the samach in the middle? Doesn't make sense. These are two chapters. How can it be in the middle of the list? So I want to say something. If you don't like it, you can again throw it away. But I want to say something which I checked, and somebody, a friend of mine, found.
It's not finished. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is then we'll Moises Kolom Asher Tovei Bohem. Yeah. But that's already how. That's already how with the others. But for yourself, you will have 4. Yeah. This is how I will kill the enemies. But as a schar for yourself is 4 things that you use. How can it be? So I want to say something which is a bit doichak, but maybe this was the pshat remember I always tell you that we have a few masoros. You have the masoros that we have from Chazal, and then you have the masoros of how to read a posuk with which is commas, the commas and the dots, which is the Balkoyer. The Balkoyer knows how to make a comma and where to put the dot. And then you have the Soifrim that they put where the Parshas, the chap. And those 3 are not aligned. They're never aligned. You have sometimes the Masoros tells us this is a Parsha in the middle of a posuk. Yeah, Piske Bemtze posuk. It's a lot in the Torah where the people who gave us the Masoros of Parshas, they are not aligned with the Balkoyer. For the Balkoyer, this is a sof of a posuk in the middle of a posuk, and he puts a Parsha. So it's not really an aligned Masoros. And so the Bala Masoros, maybe they learned the Sio Meshakelu Bakoro is not a Haftocha, but it is a Loisase. Loisia Meshakelo. In other words, I don't want you to be Meshakelo means to abort. They learned that it is a Loisase of having people who abort or akoro, or people who don't have children. Because we see already in the posuk, in the Torah later on, we see at the end that Moshe Rabbeinu tells us, Lo yovoi petzu adako ukut shofo b'kal Hashem. Hashem does not want people who cannot have children. It's not what Hashem wants. It's kind of quite a strong statement here, not very pleasant to hear, but it may be that there is a loisase, loisio meshakelo v'akoro b'atzech. You should not have them in your midst. Yeah, like loyove suodako kushoko, and also ba'achzechem loisasu ubochem loisasu. It says in Parshas Emor, Chazal learned a person is not allowed to be mesares himself. Make
means somebody deliberately
decides
it.
Yeah.
Not that.
No. That's why kushoko and suodako is by hand. By hand.
Then loisiato, it means they forbid girl.
Yeah, if we can have children, not to have. So why? Yeah. It's the Bala Masoros of the stam Soifrim, which we know are probably more closely related to the Karoim. There's a whole shtickle about that. Once I gave a shir about that. So there's not like Chazal. Chazal don't mention this at all. But it could be a remes that there is a little bit of here. You should not do this type of things. With why? No, that's already when you do that, then this will be your so it's like one, the new chapter, then I will, there's like a loisas which is followed by a star. And the truth is that he says that the Torah continues, Loi agorshenu miponecho bashono echos pentio ores shmomo vrabo leo chayas asode maat agorshenu miponecho at asher tifre till you will grow, you will have a lot of children. V'nochalto es oret. So you see here as well, the Torah wants you to have children. It is not to be meshakelos and akoros in your land, because I need you to fill up the land. And the Torah says, "B'tzudako and kushof." I don't want you to over the kahal Hashem. And also not to do not allowed to be mesares yourself in Eretz Israel, because the idea of Eretz Israel is to have children in order to fill it up. So it could be that it is a loisase, a hidden loisase, according to the Masoiris of the Soifes Tam. We don't learn like that. We are saying L'sir Meshakelo is an aftocha. The line between an aftocha and a mitzvah is very blurred. When Yaakov Avinu says Le'yosur Shevet Miyehudo, it's an aftocha, but it's also a tzivui. Because if it's an aftocha, it means that it's Rotzen Hashem. If it's Rotzen Hashem, it means that we have to follow it. Yeah. So this is it's always difficult to say when the Rebbeinu Shalom says you will not have a miscarriage, it means Hashem says miscarriage is not good. And so therefore one can learn that anyway it's an issue to do miscarriages because of if it's a brocha, it means that it's a Rotzen Hashem. If it's Rotzen Hashem, how can we go against Rotzen Hashem? You can argue about it, but it's always a thin line. What?
Can be both.
Yeah.
So Hashem says you're not allowed.
Yeah. You won't happen. Yeah. Yeah. And this is what Lubavitcher Rebbe more or less says that. He explained Loisier can mean es wird nicht sein, Loisier soll nicht sein. But he means that soll nicht sein more, I think, as much as I understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitzvah your muzzle not to. So he gives a tzivu, even if your muzzle was to this type of person, Hashem will be mitzvah to change it. So he's a bit it gives him. But he also mentioned he realizes that Loisier also Loisier Koirach V'Kadosoi. Loisier Koirach V'Kadosoi is also is it an aftocha? The Rambam holds it's an aftocha, and the Ramban holds it's a loisas. You understand? It's the same, mamish the same concept. When an aftocha becomes a tzivui. Okay, so I wanted just to mention it that maybe the Baal HaMasoires Tam they held that L'sir Meshakelo is a loisase, and therefore it can be a remes against abortion. Halachically, I think abortion is okay. I'm not going to ask Shaila to hold, but theoretically, we are not against abortion as such. There are ways that the halachic depends on
which stage of
yeah, exactly, exactly. But there is it's definitely not loisitza. Let's put it that. It's normally halachically you will not be chayav at least you did it. But, I don't know. Then this is already a halachic issue. But here maybe there is a bit of a remes not to do it, not to have. So just in a quick summary, Aseret HaDibros is a fundamental constitution that there is everything is also on sirtzach, on respect of other properties. Everything is also unless you have a heter, while normally by achilas everything is mutter unless there is an issue. We discussed the Eila Mishpotim, we discussed the Haredism view, which is that the mitzvahs have to be because Hashem told you don't have to understand them, just do them. And then we said the opposite is the Rambam, which holds that in contrary, you have to understand them. And the whole idea is if you don't understand, there is no point. But since in Loyachshav Emosai, and we said Nasa V'Nishma, we said openly, we will do it, but V'Nishma, but we need to understand. We have a right to understand, and we have an obligation to understand, because at the end, this will bring us closer to Hashem with our intellectual knowledge of Hashem understanding. As Meshech Chochmah explained, the Zakos says Yisrael means to clean. The mitzvahs are cleaning us from our emotions so that we can get our intellectual up there. So the mitzvahs are mean to a purpose, but not the other way around. We discussed the Ebed Ivri. We said that the Ibn Ezra brings down, he agrees with Chazal, but he brings down another opinion that Ivri means it's a nation who are Hebrews in the land of Israel, which were still living there. And that means that, in other words, that a Hebrew has to live 6 years, then he makes a thing, then he is for forever, and we have to be at Yovel. But Chazal, what they did is they combined both, and I'm trying to consolidate with Chazal as well. So Chazal combined both, since we are also Hebrews, so we also have only 6 years, but by us, since when we are doing the Matzeh, we are only till Yovel, because we have another posuk which has mefurish that by a Jew, then the Jew is go free at Yovel. So we have a combination of two different parshas together, because we are Jews and we are also Hebrews. So we have the kula of both. And the idea is that the problem with the Martzea is because how can it be a Martzea in a Jew? And then Ibn Ezra brings a raya from Yirmiyahu, which brings down the Etzem and Ivri Yehudi. It brings down the word Yehudi. Then I explained to you that Yehudi is Lav Dafka Yehudi. It could be that it is taken from somebody that comes from the Shevet Yehuda, that lives in the Malchus Yehuda, because he speaks to it Tzidkiyahu Melech Yehuda. So maybe the word Yehudi is nothing to do with the Yehudi that is Yadim in Megillas Esther, which means the Jewish people that we have today. And then we explained that Meshakelo is apparently, we could explain it that it is a loisase, not to do miscarriages, to abortion, and not to do things which are not giving you to have children. That it is a loisase, and for this you have a schach, because otherwise, how can you explain the Bala Soikrim that they put a new parsha, a new chapter in between those two Haftochos Brochos, those two Brochos? Why is there suddenly a new chapter? And we give a shvi just in the middle of those about this list. So the idea is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to have children because, as he says, lifrois, he wants us to be able to be big enough so that we can fill up the whole country. And if we are making abortions and taking pills not to be pregnant, then we will not be able to perform that, and it will be too many empty spaces in Eretz Yisrael, which is a danger for the Chayas Oretz and for the enemies to attack us. And so this is the idea behind this law. So I don't know. Anyway, it's not an halachic. I'm bringing you an opinion. Yeah, if you do Aliyah, then you're. What? Sorry? It's not empty today, no, but maybe with Arabs as well. But Arabs are also Hebrew, so at least it's not Canaanim there. I don't think there are Canaanim there.
We went from 600,000